So, welcome to Northern Powerhouses, our business success stories series of interviews, where we discuss with local business leaders their backgrounds, their successes and challenges, and what's really driving them forwards. And this morning, I'm delighted to have with us Joe Vaughan, who's managing director at Robertson Baxter. Baxter, sorry. So, firstly, Joe, thank you so much for your time this morning. If you'd like to introduce yourself and Robertson Baxter, what you do, how you help people, that would be wonderful.
Lovely. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, I'm Joe. Work for a company called Robertson Baxter. If you haven't heard of us, you probably wouldn't have done. We're a small independent financial advice firm based on the outskirts of Huddersfield, between Huddersfield and Wakefield. We look after a lot of money. So we typically look after high net worth clients and their finances, typically business owners and their families, typically people who are looking at retiring or panicking about retirement, seems to be our sweet spot. So our firm, advise those clients in those situations. I'm going to say this because I'm a senior person in the business, but I believe we do it well.
Great.
Very holistic approach. We've got a very team approach to looking after those clients, long-standing relationships. Not everybody understands what financial advice is. It's not really a popular gig. It's a bit of a sell. Often people can think financial advisors want to run away and gamble with your money, or at best are very boring, make you do things you don't want to do or stop you doing things. But really it can be life-changing. Good
Yeah.
financial advice and a plan
Yes.
and really help people either through tough times, making future decisions. We work with a lot of people who are very, very good at what they do, very intelligent people, but then they don't understand all the different options they might have with the money. And our job is to help them
Yeah.
make their money work as best they can for them. So I'd like to say we do it well. We have had a lot of success as a firm, lots of long-standing clients, and we're a growing firm. But we're very big on that relationship piece. I think that's a
Great.
unique. We know all of our clients exceptionally well.
Great. It's bang on. I've been lucky enough to work with a few financial services businesses at the time, and it is nuts that people don't engage effectively with the right level of advice. It's one of those areas people think they can and should do it themselves, whereas
Yes.
they probably spend more time working out how to look after the garden than they would looking after their money, and yet
Yeah,
you're a
it is.
professional.
Yeah,
Professional service, and
yeah,
I'd
it
urge
is.
anyone to engage, at least to understand the breadth that people like yourselves can help people with.
Yeah, it can
Um,
be exceptionally valuable. It's not right for everyone. Some people want to do it themselves,
yes,
but I think the value really kicks in when you've got that expertise
yes,
to help you plan. We've seen a lot of people can invest. Anyone can invest. You get a lot of DIY investors. The
yep,
challenge is keeping your head through the tough times, and
yep,
that's what your financial advisor does.
yep,
Listen to a really good speaker, guy who's very well known, becoming very well known in the industry on the behavioural side,
yes,
human side, which is very interesting. He's called Rory Sutherland, and I listened to him speak a few weeks ago, and he basically said he was talking about his financial advisor, and he said it's like a personal trainer for your
yeah,
finances. So they make you do things you might not want to do. They stop you going off the rails. They keep you calm when you feel like you should sell everything because the markets are crashing. They get you along. They're your
brilliant.
supportive person and that rational person in the background that's helping you navigate through difficult times, decisions, all that stuff. So a good financial advisor is kind of like that personal trainer or coach.
It's a really good point, actually, because I often say to people in what I do is that nobody really wants a coach, nobody really wants a personal trainer. What they want is the output, and
Yeah,
I guess that's the same with you guys. We don't really want
it's
a financial
no one
advisor,
wants to do it.
but we want to be as wealthy as we could possibly be,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
as we go into the sort of third stage of our lives. And
absolutely.
it's not that you want who we are, but you want the results that we can
Want
deliver.
the result. You
Yeah,
don't want the process. You don't want to fill out the forms or think about your pension, or no one wants to do that. They say it's quite boring or
yeah,
they have got to pay money for it, but you know, it pays off. The point is
absolutely,
professionals doing it very, very well, and dare I
absolutely.
say it, better than pretty much most people could do it
Yeah,
themselves. Really.
and you do a lot of work. I know there's a lot of studying all the way through your careers to keep things current, keep things relevant. So absolutely brilliant. Well, Joe, if we sort of start at the beginning, if
Of
you
course.
tell a little bit about your background, how you got into business and why this particular one, that would be great.
Yeah, so it was never a plan. So my background, you might hear a bit of an accent. I was born in Liverpool. I've travelled around a few different places. Normal working class background, just normal kid. I One of my life changing moments, if it may be so grand, was I was in junior school, quite a quiet kid. Um, People who know me now wouldn't believe that whatsoever. I've got a bit of a work persona now, but I was that quiet kid, never put my hand up, quite geeky, quite quiet, but identified as having potential and being clever. Normal junior school, and I was encouraged by a supply teacher to go for it and go for an entrance exam for top school in Liverpool. It's a private school. Never heard of it. Parents had never heard of it. So, with encouragement for a lot of teachers at that age and putting in extra to mark things and stuff, I ended up passing an entrance exam a year early and going to a private school, which is another world, other side of Liverpool, at the age of 10, into senior school. And that opened a lot of doors. So that was like the first step into what education can do
Yep.
and just what a different environment can do. So
Brilliant.
surrounded by a lot of people who are wealthy backgrounds and so on and so forth. So I learned a lot from there. Got good grades. At school, did well pretty much most subjects, but my thing was languages. I don't know why. I was a really quiet person, but I was really just naturally good at languages.
Brilliant.
Never knew what I wanted to do, felt like a fish out of water. So if this resonates with anyone or any young kids, it doesn't matter. Still
Yeah.
don't know what I want to do.
Yeah.
I just knew what I was good at. So I followed the passion and did a degree in languages.
Great.
I did some teaching along the way on my year out in Paris.
Wow.
And that that was another defining moment
Yes.
where I went from being this really quiet
Yes.
person to now I'm living in a big city in a foreign country. Oh my God. And I'm going to have to teach kids in another language. I was
Wow.
teaching, shouting at them in French. So I was a different person. After that year abroad, it was
Brilliant.
brilliant. It was tough. It was really hard. If I'd have known what I was letting myself in for, I wouldn't have done it. And I think that's the case throughout my life. If I'd have known what I was letting myself in for, I wouldn't have done it. So one of our owners, Steve, always says to me, naivety is good. Being naive and optimistic is good. So yeah, and then different person. So did a teaching degree after uni because still didn't know what I want to do. So did a teaching qualification. And I think it's fair to say that teaching, learning, development has always been one of my passions, really.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, done all sorts of different things. Found myself coming up north, based in Huddersfield, worked for a large manufacturing company,
Right.
did a few jobs using my languages. So I moved into customer service, the international team,
Yep.
worked there for a number of years, found another passion, which is customer service, really passionate about it.
Brilliant.
Wherever I go, whatever I do,
Yep.
can't take that hat off. And learned a lot there and sort of pretty I've done a few different jobs, so I progressed to management through there, then took some time out to be a teacher. I went into being a language teacher for a number of years, did a training qualification, then became a consultant, learned coaching, taught
Goodness.
people leadership and management. And then I found through that I was recommended to the firm, to Robertson Baxter, who I currently work with. So I originally worked with them as a consultant
Right.
with some of their team
Yep.
and the owners, and then jumped ship and came full circle and came back into management, into the business. So it's just a whole
Goodness.
great. I'm just a jack. I've been a jack of all trades, Chris. I've done so many different jobs.
Fabulous. Wowzers. No, absolutely fantastic. And with this business specifically, what are some of the challenges you've had to overcome as you've grown?
In this business.
Yes. Oh, well, any really, but
yeah, any of them. Yeah. So in this one particularly, I was brought in because I got to know the firm and they wanted to grow, and there was a gap there in terms of the management that was needed.
Yeah.
Too much on one person. So I
Yes.
was looking originally to run the office and take away some of those
Yeah.
responsibilities, split them out a bit. But we didn't really know what I was going to do, and I didn't. Greg and Steve wind me up now because I said, "You won't need me for long. You're a good firm. You won't need me for long. A little bit of work and it'll be fine." And here I am still 8 years later. But
Brilliant.
probably the biggest challenge in this firm is I've completely moved sectors again. I've done this a number of times. And it's just like, even though I'm a linguist, it's like everyone spoke a different language, all the different acronyms, all the
Yes.
technicality of the work they do.
Yeah.
So I've been a manager on and off for pretty much all my career, 20 odd years now. And I rate myself in that without sounding too arrogant, but
Brilliant.
I rate
No,
myself that I can manage
brilliant.
people, look after people, and pick things up. But I think the technical side of it was the biggest challenge, and being
Yes.
accepted in a sector, because most people have grown up in that sector.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
they know. That's the language they speak. So to come in as this outsider from
Yeah.
a different sector is a good thing. It's a
Uh,
bit disruptive, but it's also challenging for that individual and everybody else to get used to that individual coming in.
yeah.
It's a different industry, different language, different pace.
Yeah.
Um, I worked in really fast-paced manufacturing,
Right.
customers jumping up and down if they didn't get their order the next day.
Yep.
People wanting answers within 5 minutes. And then I go into financial services and standard lead times are 10 days for a simple answer to a simple question. I'm kind of like, you what? No chance. So it's really a change of culture, language, environment, massive. So I've had to overcome all that over the years
I,
and learn.
I can imagine. I have worked as if with a number of financial services and brought that into professional services. And the model
Yes,
for so long has been the managing partners are
yes,
the highest, most experienced people in that
yes,
industry, and that's the norm. And therefore,
yeah,
somebody that's not that person coming in to be the managing director, the key manager, I can imagine has comes with those levels of challenges of sort of earn your spur or whatever the right was, earn your stripes,
yeah,
whatever the
yeah,
right thing is. And I can imagine that would have some challenges.
absolutely.
But
Yeah,
management is its own profession, and that's the point, isn't it? Is that management isn't the craziest thing I ever see in business, and it happens all the time. I'm sure you've seen it. Is that the manager is the person that's best at what they do, and they assume that therefore they will
yeah,
make the best person to manage other people. When
typically.
management is a different skill,
Yeah.
expertise, profession, as far as I'm concerned.
And
So
that debate will go on forever, won't
yeah,
it?
yeah,
Is it the person who's really good who should get promoted because they know what they're doing and they know everything inside out and everyone respects them and knows the
yeah,
good? Or is it the person who is good at management but doesn't need to know the detail? And that debate will rage on. But certainly in
absolutely.
professional services, I find people quite wedded to the idea that you progress through,
Yes.
and that your owner is your manager and
Yeah,
so
I very much see that a lot, and so whether it's this business or the ones that you've been in before, what are your biggest learnings about business and business growth?
oh, quite a few. So I think the biggest one for me is people are everything.
Yes,
Business is done through relationships,
yep,
building relationships with people, having a sort of, I've learned that a win-win approach is the best.
brilliant,
You don't have to fight your way to the top. You don't have to fight with anybody. If you have that you need to be assertive. I've had to work on that.
yep,
But it doesn't need to be win-lose. It can
yep,
be a win-win. Relationships, compromise, collaboration, they're all the way to go.
yep,
I've learned that good people make all the difference to a business. It's get
yeah,
the best people you can
yep,
in terms of behaviors as well as expertise and knowledge. They can make or break your business.
yep,
One bad egg, it's
yep,
really difficult to manage, and if that's
yep,
ignored, it brings everyone else down. So people are everything. Your staff,
100%,
customers, your suppliers, your visitors.
yeah,
Treat everybody the same with the same level of respect. I've
yep,
learned that so much, and I've learned the impact on people depending on how that senior person behaves, what impact they have.
yes,
I feel very uncomfortable sitting in that seat now, trying to remind myself of that when I realise you have a massive impact as a manager,
yep,
all bad. and you've got to be mindful of it. It's a real responsibility. It's a privilege. And you can make or break someone's day. And I've seen it back in the day
Yeah.
when I was in customer service. I've seen just the different ways my team was spoken to before I was in management, and I watched and I observed. I
Yeah.
thought, oh, yeah, they respond really well to that one.
Yeah.
They really don't like that one.
Yeah.
So you've got to build relationships just for not for what you can get, but just because that's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
It gets you through tough times. It makes problem solving easier. It leads to better results. And people are not easy, but you
Yeah.
really need to work on that one. So
Brilliant.
people for me are everything. The
Yeah.
make or break your business, and also the people that are around you as well.
Yeah.
They'll help you through hard times. They'll motivate you if you feel a bit down. You spend a lot of time with these people. I know it's cliche, but if you can be a team, and it's wonderful. We have a
Yeah.
laugh in our office. We have some tough days. We have some really tough times year end. And if you've got a team and everyone feels they can trust each other, and we can have a bit of a laugh together, and we can play, it's all the difference when you come to work.
Yeah.
It makes all the difference. That's my biggest. I've mentioned about the not having to fight your way.
Yeah.
Never had to fight my way to the top, but I don't say where at the level I'm at. I've never had to fight my way.
Yeah.
It's for me, the way I've always operated quite quietly is look, for people who do want to get on, think, how can I add value?
Yeah.
Don't just think you should be entitled. Just because you've been doing something for 5 years doesn't mean
Yeah.
you're entitled. It's like, well, what am I offering here?
Yeah.
How can I help this business be better? How can I help this problem? I'm a real problem solver person.
Yeah.
So I think it's just think about how you can add value. What's your niche? How can you help the owners? If it was your business, what would you do?
Yeah.
I've always thought like that, no matter what job I've done.
Yeah.
Other things are, don't be defined by where you come from or what you've got. I would never have dreamed in a million years I'm sat here as an MD. I still can't believe it. It's still quite early days for me.
Brilliant.
Never would have believed it in a million years. But don't be defined. Your gender, your accent, where you've started from,
Absolutely.
your education.
Absolutely.
Think about what you really want and go for it. And unless someone says no, keep going.
Yeah.
People rarely say no if you do things in the right way and you make
Absolutely.
and you say what you want.
Absolutely.
People very rarely say no. They sometimes appreciate you doing the thinking and
Yes.
acting, really. Ask for what you want. Might sound a bit deep, but it's kind of like, I'm older now. I've learned that life doesn't go the way you plan it. You might have a really neat plan, what you're going to do by 30 and 40. It doesn't work that way. Not always smooth. And it's kind of just accept that, really, no matter where you come from.
Yeah.
Don't judge other people. Be grateful for what you've got. Make the best of what you've got. Work with what you've got, whether it's your own talent, energy, people around you.
Yeah.
Budget. Work with what you've got rather than complaining about what you haven't.
Yeah. Brilliant.
So yeah,
fabulous. Yeah, no, they're all very, very good learnings. I think the people one is super, especially, and one of the things that we've part of what we often teach people is when they're looking at recruitment, and it's true whether or not the existing people or not, but when we're looking at new people or even the people in the organization, most people when they recruit on experience, but the reality is we sack on attitude. So the proposition that we have in how we help people, and we actually have a recruitment arm to what we do because of this, is we recruit on given a base level of experience. Obviously there might be some qualifications, certainly in your industry that I know there's qualifications, but with above a certain level of base, let's go for the attitude over the experience.
Yes.
Because
that's what I do.
The people that want to work with us because they love the values, they love the vision of the organization, they want to be part of that team that you rightly talked about. And when you find those people, then you're getting long-term profitable team members for life. And that it's so key. And I think you're aware we're a business coaching organization. I'm keen to know who the best coaches you've worked with, whether that's business, sport, life in general, who've had the biggest influences on you.
Yeah, so didn't know what coaching was until I came across it and I went to work for a training and coaching company and I didn't know
Yep.
what coaching was. So I'll give a shout out to them. I'll always think they're the best at what they do in training
Brilliant.
other coaches. So that's Azure Consulting.
Brilliant.
I was really cheeky with Azure when I was in management. I realized the bit of management I really liked and always will is the training and development side of
Yeah.
people. Really like that. And so went off, got a training qualification, and then sent my CV to Azure and said, really liked what you did. I went on one of your courses. You won't remember me, but I'd really love to work for you because I think you're
Brilliant.
brilliant. And that started off a little journey with them. They taught me how to be a coach. So I will always hold Sue and Sharon up in high esteem for what
Brilliant.
they taught me and what I learned from them as coaches.
Yep.
And life changing, life changing to
Brilliant.
change your own mindset when you
Yeah.
become a coach. Um, and another really interesting person that I've learned from, I went to, again, really naively signed up for an NLP qualification, didn't really know what it was. My sister
Yep.
was going, oh, that sounds interesting, like to learn. He was brilliant, guy called Terry McCoy, based over in Liverpool. And he just threw the book out the window of what I thought, of how I thought you train and teach people with your
Yeah.
lovely neat presentation and your lesson plan, threw it out the window. He just had his flip chart. We went all over the place. It was a 10-day course, taught us about neuroscience, all kinds of wisdom. It was
Brilliant.
brilliant. And he really opened my mind up into just how you can learn differently,
Yeah.
how you engage people differently. He was just very, very full of wisdom, full
Fabulous.
of learnings. Again, that was brilliant.
Fabulous.
So
Wonderful. And through all of that and anything else, do
yeah.
you have you found any favorite quotes or sayings that you catch yourself using a lot?
I find myself saying a lot, work with what you've got, to
Yep.
myself and to other people,
Yep.
instead of sitting there going, well, we can't possibly do that because we don't have the time, the staff, the resource. Well, what have we got? Work with what we've got
Yep.
and start there. Um, the other things to say to, again, to a lot of people is about the sort of baby step approach. That's been really transformational for me.
Yep.
I've had to work on, I kind of, when it comes to work and studying and learning, I've always been an all or nothing kind of person.
Yep.
Um, and if I sign up for something, I'm doing it. I'm not going to fail. I'm going to do it even if I hate it. I'm going to pass it. Whereas I'm much more moderate now. I think the
Yeah.
key to longevity, long-term success, long-term achievement is baby steps, sustainable, small baby steps. As a
Brilliant.
coach, when I coached, worked with other people, and for myself, just take one bite, work with this and then build on that.
Yep.
Don't try and take on the whole world and set yourself up to fail.
Bang on.
I used to be that person with 100 things on my to-do list in one day, and I do 90 and feel really disappointed. Whereas I'm a lot kinder to myself now. Kind of, you know, just
Yes.
you just need to be realistic.
Yeah.
Is much more satisfying.
Yeah. It's understanding what's achievable, I think, isn't it? In making sure
Yeah,
at a stretch, perhaps, but
yeah,
what is achievable? Because if it's past achievability or our belief in achievability, then
yeah,
we're not engaged with it. It's
yeah.
just
Set yourself up to fail. It's no good. So
yes.
still aim high, but just take a very baby step approach towards that, this sort of
Brilliant.
incremental
Brilliant.
improvement approach. And that's been quite transformational for me. So and that's what I
Brilliant.
encourage people to do.
And what would you say you've learned about yourself as you've throughout this amazing career that you've had?
I've learned that I'm capable of more than I thought. So if I
Yeah.
gave in to those doubts that everyone has at the start, I'd never have done anything. I'd never have gone abroad. I'd never have put myself up as a teacher. I'd have never done any of the things I've done. So it's kind of that feel the fear and do it anyway. I've learned
Yep.
that. I've learned that you can be, a, it's hard to talk about yourself in this way, but I'd like to think I'm a genuinely nice person. I always
Yep.
try to do the best by other people. And I think the two aren't mutually exclusive. I think you can do well in business and do it in
I
that
agree.
way. I don't think
100%.
that you need to tramp on other people or adopt aggressive behaviors or put yourself forward before someone else. I don't think you have to do it that way. I think you can be your person
Completely
and
agree.
do it in your way. I've learned that
Yep.
that's possible. I used to see certain people who were senior and think I'd never be like that. So I'll roll myself out. But I don't think you have to.
Yep.
I'm tougher than I think I am. When I look back, you feel terrified of some of the things you've experienced. Uh, probably that's probably all I can think of at
Brilliant.
the moment, to be honest.
Wonderful. Well, great learning. So
Yeah.
I would imagine sort of 40% of the people I speak to talk a lot about resilience and that ability to keep going. And I think that's the mark of most successful people. It's accepting failure as being part
Yes,
of success.
it
Um,
is.
and it's
It's discipline and focus, Chris. It's even when you think I don't know where this is going, it's never going to happen. You get up and you do it again, and you get up and you do it again. And even when you don't feel like doing it, motivation doesn't mean anything. I used to think it was all about motivation. No, it isn't. It isn't. It's about getting out of bed and doing it anyway, even when
keep
you're not
going.
feeling putting on a putting on a smiley face for your team when you walk in, being present for your people when you walk in, even if
Yep.
you have the morning from hell or you're not feeling it. It's yeah, it's that you've got to keep going. You've got to keep going because if you show signs of quitting, well, what kind of leader are you? People take their lead from you.
100%.
You've got to set the tone, haven't you? You've got a responsibility to be
Yeah,
present.
because a phrase I was told a long time ago, which I really like, is you can't not communicate. So
Yes.
you can't go in and pretend that you have to get up and be that person, don't you? You can't just sort of, well, I won't. I'm down, but I'll just won't mention it to anybody else.
Yeah.
That in itself will already is probably on a losing course. It's
Absolutely.
so
And people make things up. People make stories up. I used to be one of them. And if you see a manager, particularly managers, because I think they have a massive impact on the biggest impact on an organization.
yes.
But if you see a manager who's unusually quiet or the door shut, we all used to sit and gossip and go, oh, it must be going on there. They're obviously in a bad mood, or someone's
Yeah,
getting attacked, or we're being made. People make up stories in the absence of information. I learned
yeah,
that as well. I've
we
learned
put
that on both sides.
yeah,
So communicate. If you can't hide the fact that, I don't know, sometimes you go through really tough times. And if you can't hide it, tell people what you can tell them to say, look, I'm not quite myself. It's not you. It's nothing personal. There's nothing awful
absolutely.
going on in the business. I'm just having a bit of a tough time. If
Yes,
you can't hide it, because people worry, they always think it's about them. It usually isn't. Um, you know,
completely agree. And I do believe in management, management leadership, and most pools of life, it's about grown up conversations. It's okay sometimes to say, look, I'm having a bad day, but tomorrow I'll be great. And it's just, let's just keep going. It's not
you're
a
humans, aren't
terminal
you?
thing. This is just, we all do. And the reality is we all know we all have bad days. So it's not like we have to expect, to be
No,
expected to be perfect every day. And
no,
but as you say, but in general, that's what we're expected to do because
yeah,
we're the leaders, we're the people look to, and we set the tone
yeah.
tone for the future. And speaking of future, so what does the future look like for you guys, and what challenges do you see you foresee, if any, as you
Yeah.
grow?
So for us, as a firm, we're a growing firm. So that in itself brings challenges. We've
Yep,
evolved quite a lot from when Greg and Steve started the business in 2007. So we're a growing firm. That brings its own challenges to
yep,
maintain that culture you've got, that team approach.
yep,
We're very close knit as you grow. That brings its own challenges. We've got challenges in the financial services sector, ever more regulation.
yep,
Um, that you've got to stay current
yep,
and there's a lot. We're being put to the test a lot. We're a good firm, we're very compliant, but all firms have failed. No one's failed to be unaffected by consumer
yes,
duty and all the,
yeah,
it's just ever more stringent.
yes,
Scrutiny from the FCA, that's a challenge for financial services firms. That's probably our challenges specifically as an industry,
yeah,
and as a team.
yes.
Um, yeah, that's probably as much as I can say on that. Really, it's the regulatory space that we're in, really, and
I know it's pretty. pretty tough. It's been quite tough for quite a long time, hasn't it?
Yeah, and it's sort of, and financial services generally is just not got the best reputation, so that's always a challenge to convince people that
yeah,
we do good, we do it in a good way, we're very we've got integrity,
yeah,
and convince them of the value of advice is to stay current and
yes,
meet people's needs.
absolutely. And
It's an ongoing challenge, really.
no, yeah, no, absolutely. And what would you say, Joe, to anybody that was thinking of going to business right now?
Going into business,
Yeah,
I would say if it's something you really want to do, go for it. Figure out what it is you want to achieve and why.
yeah,
When I was younger, I used to want my own business. I never knew what I wanted to do, but I thought, I'd love to own my own business. I absolutely know I wouldn't want to do that now. I'm a better supporting act,
yeah,
and I've learned that. So business owners have their own challenges. I'm not that entrepreneur. I can take problems and solve them and help you grow and help you figure out, help you get to where you want to be. And I can do
absolutely.
that structural stuff and people management. I'm not your entrepreneur. So I think it's being really honest with yourself. Why do I want to go into business? What is it? What is it about me? Is it an amazing product or whatever that I want? Some businesses I've seen crash and burn is because the business owner has been so passionate about what they do, but they've forgotten that they need to make money, or
Yes,
they feel ashamed to charge.
yep,
And I've seen some people actually go out of business for that reason, which is really sad. And they've had a great product or a great
yep,
service, but then they felt that they didn't deserve to
yep,
make profits. And you've got to do that. That's what business is about. You've got to make money to keep people employed and to keep
yep.
going. Unless it's a hobby business. So I'd really think about that. I'm going to say this. I'm biased, but I've seen it on both sides. But management is everything
Yeah,
as well in a business. So if you grow, get yourself a good manager, someone who
100%.
actually likes managing people. If it's not you, be honest about business
Yeah,
owners can't be everything. Some are really good accountants, or some are good at people, some are good at operations, some are good at product. You can't be everything. So get good people
absolutely.
who are good at the things you're not good at.
Yeah,
Uh, Back in the day, before I was a manager, I used to wonder why the managers got all the development. And I used to think, why are the managers always on courses? Now I get it, because
yeah,
they have the biggest impact. If you
yeah,
don't train your managers, it's a complete disaster. If you've got a horror of a manager,
yeah.
it just completely wreck your business. So I'm very passionate about getting good managers and
Brilliant.
training them up and putting the right people in the right seats.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it was I think that the people on the bus was I think it was Tom Peters getting the right people on the bus
Right people in the right seats on the bus.
on the
Yeah,
in the right seats going
absolutely.
the right direction. And
Absolutely.
the thing we added to that recently was this idea of, but what does it say on the front of the bus? Because of
Yeah.
because a lot in some cases it just says magical mystery tour, which might be what get the right some people on the bus because of it says that, but in general, people want to know where we're headed. So it's like
Yeah,
also have that
that's
direction
wise.
vision.
Yes,
it's,
yes,
it's
definitely.
because I think you said, well, I just thought, yeah, I just seemed like fun. We did brilliant. And finally, what would be the best advice you could give an 18-year-old you if you could go back in time and do so, Jack?
Oh, yeah, best advice for myself, goodness me. And I've said it doesn't matter if you don't have it figured out, and
Yes.
it doesn't matter if what you think where you think you're going to be doesn't happen. Some good advice I read along the way was, you know, life could, that might sound a bit mad, but if you see life as being like on a series of lily pads, and just be on that lily pad and go with it if it feels good. And then when it doesn't feel good, just go on to the next one. It doesn't mean you failed. No hard feelings.
No.
No experience is wasted. So I'd have said
Yes.
to myself, don't sweat that stuff when all my friends had it figured out and I didn't. It's fine. You will find your way, and you will learn along the way, and you'll find your niche and your strengths and the things, and you may never figure it out, but as long as you're quite happy along the way, it doesn't really matter. You don't just need one career. Um, and I've questioned myself whether I would have gone to university. Actually, I probably, if I'd gone back in time as a linguist, I probably would have travelled and worked as well. So I'm
Yes.
not against uni at all, but I see a lot of graduates now, job seekers. up to their eyeballs in debt,
Yeah.
and they've still got to take that first rung in our industry and do the professional exams as well.
Yes.
So 4 years not earning,
Yeah.
racking up debt, and then still almost starting at the beginning anyway.
Yeah.
And that's sort of more general advice out there really for anyone going into professional services,
Yeah.
is really be clear about what that degree is going to do for you. It
Yeah.
needs to add value and pay off.
Completely agree. Yeah, I completely agree. It's interesting. My daughter is 18 in 13 days now, so
Oh,
and she doesn't know what and so we can do a bit of traveling, a bit of working on a ski on a
absolutely.
ski hill for a season, and exactly that. I just said, look, just see what comes out of it,
Just
and
live life, do
things
jobs, try
things appear.
things.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And you
absolutely.
learn things from the jobs you don't like. You learn so much from jobs you
Yes,
don't like. Think, well, actually, no, that's not me, being customer
absolutely.
facing or whatever it is. So it's kind of like no experience is wasted for me.
Yes.
You kind of don't need it all figured out at such a young age as
Yes,
people
you've said that a
to
couple of times. It's a really great phrase. No experience is wasted because it
It
is
isn't.
as you say. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Well, Joe, that's been really fantastic talking to you, and thank you so much for your time. And for anyone
Very
watching right now that would like to get in touch with you or Robertson Baxter, what would be the best way to do that?
Yeah, so they could have a look at our website. I think it's quite a nice website. Why not have a little browse around? That's robertsonbaxter.com, or they can get in touch with me, Joe Vaughan, either I'm on LinkedIn. You can got my contact details on the website there as well. And if anyone is either want some pointers in the direction of management training and coaching, I'd happy to do that. Or if anyone's interested in financial advice, well, any financial advice firm should give people time up front for
Yeah,
nothing. So it's not obligation, not
great.
on the clock. If anyone wanted a conversation, there's no charge for that. If people just wanted to dip a little toe in and ask some
Yeah,
questions, that's absolutely fine. Thank
wonderful.
you.
Well, thank you so much for your time. It'd be great to swing by again in another sort of 6, 12 months and just see what the
Yeah.
next stage of growth is for you guys. But
Thank
for now,
you.
thank you so much for your time.
Hope it's been useful. Thanks, Chris, and thank you
Thank,
very much. It's been a
thank
pleasure.
you.
Take
Brilliant.
care. Thank you.